Hey, what is going on, party people? Greg Jenkins here from Monkeypod, and I just answered a question from my friend Jason, one of my OG members, about a topic that doesn't get nearly enough attention. It is a wildly underused feature inside Keap, and I'm talking about fulfillment lists. So there's a good chance, if you're a Keap user, that maybe you've never heard of these, or you've never used them, or you've seen them but never really understood their functionality, and that's going to change today. All right, so here's the deal. Fulfillment lists are unlike anything else inside of the software because most automation happens on an individual basis. When a contact, let's say 100 contacts enter a sequence and you have an email step, that means 100 different emails are going to go out. If you have a tag, that means that 100 different contacts are each going to get a tag. If you have a note in that sequence, that means 100 different notes are going to be applied, one to each of those individual contacts. But fulfillment lists are a little bit different. They allow you to batch things together. So that means that if 100 people hit a fulfillment list step, you can send yourself one spreadsheet with all of those individuals on it. That allows you to print off the name badges for everybody who's coming to your event that day. Or, in my case, download a list of questions that have been submitted in preparation for a webinar you're hosting. Anyway, let's jump into the software. I'll show you how this works. So this was a webinar campaign. I've removed the entry trigger. I'm not going to break down all of the dynamics for the campaign here, but after somebody registers, they see this registration page where they can add a question. So, hey, you're registered. Is there anything specific you want us to try to cover on this webinar? They can ask their question here, right? So it's optional, but for the people who do fill it out, they'll be added to this sequence. In the moment that they are added, a note gets applied, storing the question on the contact record and notifying Jade and I about it. Here's the merge field for the question that they input on that web form. So this is just like a historical breadcrumb of that question. I was also, because this was a guest webinar, I was using an HTTP post to trigger a zap that was sending the question to Jamie Clark, our guest for that webinar. But the webinar was on March 24th. So I think the webinar was at 11 a.m. or something like that. But at 8:15 a.m., so a couple hours before the webinar, I have this fulfillment list icon, which I think is one of the most underused features in the campaign builder. I don't believe it's in Pro or Max, but it is in Max Classic. And so with that little item, you can choose to send it to a user or to an email address. I send it to my admin email address. Here are the questions for today's webinar. And then the way that this works is it takes, there's one note applied to each contact, but a fulfillment list batches those all together. So it takes, let's say we got 50 questions. It takes all 50 questions and it puts them into one CSV file and sends it as an attachment, like as a spreadsheet attachment, using the fields that you outline here. And then these are the names that they are given in the column. So first name, last name, email, company, and contact ID are all part of the standard fields that it's including. And then I have added contact us comments, which is one of my custom fields. But you can see, these are all custom fields. Purchase tracker, shirt size, split test, contact us comments, NPS contacts, year founded, right? So depending on what you want to add, you can choose in this drop down what fields you want to be included. I don't necessarily need the owner's postal code, so I can delete that. I don't need the owner's state. I don't need the owner's city, and I don't need the owner's street address. So I might change that to be, the contact, the date that they last purchased, right? So that I have some context for when they spent money. And if you wanted to add additional columns, you can do that with this little plus sign, or you can remove fields you don't want part of that spreadsheet. The goal is to have only the information in these columns that you want to wind up in the spreadsheet that is sent to you. And these are all customizable. So in the left-hand column, you choose your Keap fields, contact fields, custom fields, owner fields, logged in user fields, company fields, affiliate fields, referring affiliate fields. Yeah, that's about it. And then in the right one, you can choose the column header you want it to use. So this is just text. First name. I don't usually mess with this because I usually know what it means. But if it's going to someone else, you could say, this is their email, right? You could like specify what that information is in case your internal placeholder isn't super specific. This is the question they asked. That sort of thing. Okay. And then if you wanted, you can also include attachments. I don't use that, but if you were sending a fulfillment list to, a fulfillment warehouse that needed to ship out some books, you might include like a letter that you want them to print and include in that, or instructions for how you want them to assemble the box or what have you. And then you mark it as ready and you're good. Okay, so that is fulfillment lists. You can probably see why they are one of my favorite features. Like I said, unique functionality you can't find anywhere else. And I think that they are powerful and also dramatically underused. So hopefully this tool is on your radar. If you think it's valuable, you can look for opportunities to bake it into your existing automation. And if you are looking for more automation training, more campaign builder training, you can unlock the CB Trilogy course at cbtrilogy.com. Thanks for watching. Take care.